So I mentioned in the Heavy Arms video that I picked up something a little bit different to try out. I have, in the past, attempted to get into armor. You know, I built a 35th scale Tamiya Tiger like 20 years ago. That didn't work out very well at all, because for one thing that model is very old and requires a lot of work to really look halfway decent. And 35th scale armor is a little bigger than I'm really interested in anyway. So when Bandai, or Tamiya I should say, when Tamiya introduced their 48th scale armor series a few years ago, my interest was piqued. I didn't do anything with it for a long time, but in about, I would say maybe 2010 or so, I picked up their one of their Sherman tanks. And I don't remember if I did a video on it. If I did, there will be a link down there. But I did it, I built it, and I painted it, and I did a really nice job, and I was really happy with it. But I never got back to doing armor because I moved pretty quickly after that, and it just wasn't really a priority for me. But since now I'm getting my studio set up and I'll have a space where I can actually work, I've been looking around at some other stuff at the hobby shop and seeing what was what. And I was glancing through their stack of Tamiya's 48th scale armor kits, and I found Tamiya's latest release, the M1A1 Abrams main battle tank. I'm kind of keen on this. I've been a fan of the Abrams for a long time. It's a very angular, very sleek, very modern design, and I'm really keen to crack it open. Because I've had good luck with Tamiya kits in general, and I'm eager to see what this one's going to be like. So let's see what we got. So the box isn't very large. It's comparable in size to a Bandai high-grade or real-grade kit. Has a very attractive painted box art. Has some information about the model itself. M1A2. I stand corrected. I said earlier it was M1A1. Authentically reproduced, blah blah blah. Hull weight gives a realistic heavy feel. Just some info about the design and engineering of the model. Box bottom has just some elevation views with color markings. Ends of the boxes are the same, just the same box art, and then just another, just all in Japanese with another elevation view and a different color marking. First up we got the turret. Top and bottom portion. The molding on it is pretty simple. It's got a bit of a texture on parts of it, which I imagine is accurate. Tamiya is usually very very careful about the fidelity of their molding, being, you know, smooth where appropriate and not. So this is probably kind of like the cast metal texture that you would expect from this kind of like one-piece heavy-duty steel or whatever material this armor is made of. In addition, there's some glue-on panels. You got the it's probably the commander's cupola, the mantlet for the gun, some I would say cages for stowage for the back of the turret, I would say. Looks like all the hull parts, hull bottom, sides with where the running gear would attach, skirts, and the hull top. Again, the hull top is kind of molded in that sandpapery, gritty texture. Got some nice venting in here where I guess the intakes would be. I'm guessing this is probably a hatch someplace. It looks like it's probably designed to kind of slide open, but I'm not quite sure. But lots of nice molding. All the grates and everything are well done, and all of the slots for the running gear, it looks like everything is designed to key in place so that it locks in real nicely and is not designed to move and shift. For smaller detail parts, I'm guessing this would be the exhaust. It's probably the rear of the hull. So you got your rear lights. You got your commander or driver figure, I'm not sure. Got a couple of machine guns, smoke dischargers, hatches and panels, and your main gun, which is molded in one piece, so there won't be a seam. There might be like the seam between the two halves of the mold, and then the gun barrel, I think the end of the barrel is right there, so two-piece to reassemble that way. You got more stowage cage for the back. I don't know, this might be like slat armor, like anti-RPG or something armor. Some various hatches and vents and whatnot. Pilot figure is waist up only, has no legs. Nice to see that the U.S. Army is fully inclusive to people with disabilities. Har, har, har. But the sculpting on the face is pretty good at this scale. Recognizable as being, human features. And we got two identical runners here with all of the running gear on it. So we'll just take a look at one, and it looks like this uses the link and length style tracks. So you've got like the long run here for like the top and bottom of the running gear, and then shorter lengths but for between sprockets on like the where it angles back up from the road, and then individual lengths to kind of link between them. And these are all labeled as part number 5. So these all would be identical, but these all would have to go in very specific locations. And that's where the entire assembly being keyed to fit in a specific way would be very useful. And there's also, I'm guessing that's a tow cable, and some stowage boxes, and that's about it. There's also 4 poly caps. I'm guessing these would be for the drive wheels and the idler wheels. Oh. And last up, we have a piece of metal weight for the bottom of the tank. I'm not really sure why Tamiya includes this. Like, it's not like the suspension is functional, so, weighing it down a little bit doesn't really make a huge difference. I remember the earlier ones had like a die-cast metal hull bottom, like a one-piece die-cast metal hull bottom. Like in the case of this one, this bottom plate and all of this would have been molded as one piece in like die-cast, like zinc and aluminum or whatever the blend of metal is. But in the more recent ones, they've just been doing this kind of metal bar and using that instead. For markings, we just got one small sheet, F24. I'm guessing there's like 2 different marking options for different units. So yeah, the side of the box has like F2 and F4, so you can choose between which one you'd like. And then there's obviously just like other warnings and unit markings and whatnot. First up for instructions, we've got kind of a biohistory of the machine in Japanese, English, looks like German and French, and then the backside has the marking guide. And then assembly instructions. Front always starts with your typical warnings and color listings and tool callouts. Assembly begins with the lower hull and running gear, then moving on to the tracks, then assembly of the upper hull, assembly of the entire hull to itself, and then onto the turret, detail parts on the turret, and then final assembly. So it doesn't look overly complicated. So this will only be my second of Tamiya's 48th scale armor kits if I ever get around to building it. I do have another one in my stash, but I don't think I'm going to have time to shoot it or review it or anything before I have to head back up north. This is not something I'm going to be taking with me. This is something that'll have to be done here from start to finish, which is kind of a bummer, because it is a nice looking model, and I've often joked about, with Tamiya kits, all you really have to do is just trim the parts off a runner, throw some glue in, put them in a bag, shake it, and the thing will come out assembled, because the fit is always that good. And this looks like the fit is going to be really good, especially considering it's brand new engineering. This thing it came out in November, so we're talking like 2 months, 3 months old. And, you know, their 48th scale series right from the start has been outstanding. So it's only been getting better. Granted, I have fairly limited experience with it, but what people have told me, what I've read about them, is that they've been just getting better and better and better. So we'll see. It's been a long time since I did one, so I don't have that firm of a frame of reference for how the last one was anymore. But even so, I'm excited about getting a crack at this thing. And it's not going to be my first project once I get my spray booth assembled, but it'll be up there. It's probably going to be something that I get started on before the summer. I want to power through a couple of easier projects before I get started on something a little bigger, like, you know, maybe I have a couple of Valkyrie kits I want to do from Macross. I have the two Macross ships themselves that I want to do, and there's two more of them that I kind of want to get. Because I wouldn't mind having the complete set, you know, Starship version of, like, Starship mode of TV series and movie, and robot mode version of TV series and movie. That would be kind of awesome to, you know, have them flanking each other on a shelf. That would look great. And then I've got just all the Gundam stuff that I've been working on over the last several months that I kind of want to do as well. So it's going to be a little while before I get to anything complicated. But this is something I want to kind of prioritize. I think that's all I'm going to do for unboxings in this batch. Going to try over the next couple of days to get something put together with my spray booth. I'm eager to see how that is going to work out. It is starting to come together. We got some early preliminary work done on it this week. I'm thinking we should be able to have it largely finished by the time I have to head back up. I'm not going to have time to do anything with it, but at least it'll be there and I'll know I've got it, so I can use it when I'm home next, which isn't going to be for about a month, because I'm going to be away for a few days on my next rotation off. So it is what it is. Thank you everyone out there for watching, and happy modeling.